everyone and welcome back to the Colour Cave. It's Jem here. Today I want to return to some painting with my wonderful gouache paints, and I have this rather interesting board here, and this is a watercolour painting boards by Reeves. I just wanted to give these a bash. I've had them for a while and I haven't really tried them out. The reason I wanted to do this video today is I have done a lot of producty type videos and like reviews and road tests. I actually just wanted to do a bit of proper art for a change, and one of the things with gouache is, number one, I'm still really new to it, but secondly, I seemed to really lean towards trying to use them as watered down paints, more like watercolour. So today what I want to do is try and really embrace the opacity of these paints and try and build up some layers on a painting and just use it for what it was originally intended. And the inspiration for this is there are several little flowers that have sprouted up in my garden. For those of you that don't watch regularly or haven't been following along, I moved a few months ago. And there's lots of things in the garden that I don't know about. So these, under this gigantic tree, I have lots of crocuses. Is it croci? Crocuses? Or is it just crocus? Those flowers have started sprouting up from underneath the tree, and they're the most beautiful colours. They're purple and yellow ones. And I thought that would be a nice thing to paint with the gouache. Let's have a little look at this. There is a slight sort of curve in this board. I'm assuming that that will not cause us any problems, and it's a lot smoother than I thought it was going to be as well, which is interesting. So yeah, anyway, we'll give these a bash and we can see how we go. So what I want to do first is I do want to do a really watered down, just like a green wash almost in the background, and then after that we're going to stick to using the paints in a much more concentrated form. So I've got some olive green here. This is just an old plate I have. I like to use this when I am using gouache. I just find it an easier surface to mix on. You know, I've got a bigger surface area to kind of like swoosh things about a bit. So I've also got a little bit of neutral grey 3 here. I do want to kind of mute this down because it's going to be for the background. And this is just an old Faber-Castell brush that came with some gelatos, and I find these really good for mixing paints. So we're going to use that to do all the hard work and save the bristles on my nicer paint brushes. And I'll take a little bit of this grey and just mix it in and see what happens, because that's the fun part. Oh, this almost looks like the colours on the wall of the cave. And I've got this little mop brush here. Well, it's quite a big mop brush actually. And this is it's a medium. And I just want to stick a quick layer down on here. And not too wet, you know, literally just dampening the paper because the paint itself is quite wet. So I'm using a number 12 round to start with. I do want quite a large brush so that I can cover the area of this quite quickly. Just get some colour down around these edges. Oh, I've lost some bristles. Oh no. And I'm not fussing over this at all. It's really not of any consequence what goes on in the background because it's not really relevant, to be perfectly honest. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just taking my little painty rag here and I'm going to take an edge and dip it in my clean water. Look at that. Ooh. And then I'm just going to lift some of this. And it's just really to give it some sort of texture. Again, it's not really hugely important. And this is drying already. Wowee. There we go. It's still kind of damp in the middle there. Now the next thing I'm going to do is turn it the other way around. So this darkest part will be the bottom, because I'm going to have my flowers coming up this way. And yeah, I've got a little bit of a flaw there as well. It looks almost like a scratch, but we can incorporate that in if we decide to, you know, maybe put a few grassy fronds in the background or whatever. Okay, so thinking about crocus colours, we want a sort of purpley colour, I think. I think purple and yellow would be nice colours to use for our crocuses. They are complementary colours, so why not? And what I want to do is, I think I'll put a purple one in the background and then a yellow one in front. That might be quite nice because the yellow will stand out beautifully against the purple. So just looking through my colours here, I think I'm going to try and mix up some of this Prussian blue, perhaps with the brilliant violet, or some of this rose, I think Tyrian or Tyrian, I don't know how you pronounce that, to give us that nice sort of rich purple colour that we're looking for. That rose colour is just stunning. Look at it, even sitting on the plate there. It's like, da-da, look at me, I'm fabulous. And we've got this violet as well. Now, I actually think that maybe just a touch of the Prussian blue in with the violet might be enough to do it. So let's see what the... If I just sort of pull that out a little bit and take a smidge, because the Prussian blue is really concentrated. That is actually like nearly perfect for the first layer. I'm really impressed with myself. I don't say that very often, but I am. So first of all, I just want to get the placement and the shape of the petals, and I'm going to start with the purple one, which is going to be furthest back so that we can build the layers up on top. And I just want to think about the shape and size here. So if the yellow one's going to be in front, I'm going to put it slightly lower down, maybe say here, and have the purple one slightly higher up at the back. And the petals, they have quite a sort of soft point on them. So maybe something that sort of shape. It's actually more of a point than that. I may have to add a touch of water to this paint because I'm struggling here. And then they have this sort of diamond shape where they go into the stem and then the stem comes down this way. If you're not happy with what you see, you can go over what's there because you're not going to see what's underneath. So we bring this a bit further down. Now just by wetting my brush a bit more, it has made the paint much more mobile. So I'm just going to fill this all in now. Make this a bit smoother. Now we want to think in terms of layers, and with gouache it is so opaque. You have so much freedom in terms of putting colours on top of each other, and I think it's something that as I go along and I learn more about painting in general, I am becoming a lot more aware of and also a lot more confident with. And I think that's why I'm at the stage now where I thought, right, I'm going to try another painting in gouache. Oh yeah, so rich. And in the sort of the later layers as well, you can get a little bit of texture if you keep the dilution quite concentrated. You know, you can let some of your brush strokes show as well, which allows you then to, you know, really get some nice lines texture wise in, and it just gives that little bit of extra dimension to whatever it is you're painting. You know, it makes it sort of less flat on the canvas or on the board, as this case may be. I am battling a really bad headache today, and it's just getting worse as time goes on, so I don't know for sure if I'll be as cheery by the end of this painting as I am at the start, but I shall try my utmost to stay cheery. Now it's quite interesting because this looks really, really blue on camera, and it's really not. It seems to be drying reasonably quickly on the board. This side's completely dry already, and it's left this lovely flat colour. If I just tip that in the light a wee bit, can you see the bit on the left there that's dry? Wonderful. So while that's happening, I am going to grab a little bit of white. Do you know what? I'm going to be adventurous. I'm going to try with the grey instead, just because I've got some of it here, you know, up here on my plate. Let's see what happens if we do this, because it is quite a pale grey. Just see what this gives us. Oh, there we go. That's quite a nice colour that's coming in the middle now. Okay, I'm going to switch. This was a number 6 round. It's just a Cotman watercolour brush I've been using, so I'm going to pop that to the side just now. And I'm going to take this angled brush. This was a synthetic brush that came in an up crate, but you can see it's got quite a nice sort of point at one end, but it's actually a flat brush as well. And I think this is going to be really handy for getting some of that texture and some of these layers I was talking about. I see there is a sort of strange diamond shape that actually goes up into the petal, but we'll wait till the rest of the paint's dry. And the stems seem to be reasonably straight up and down. If we can just get that first. This is like just the sort of structure, I suppose. I really enjoy doing stuff like this because there is absolutely no expectation from me on how this should or could turn out. Now the leaves that come out from the bottom of these as well, they're quite thin and grassy looking. You know, very straight. And they do come to quite a nice little point. So I've got this paler purple, which was just my original colour mixed with some grey. And I'm going to start adding in a little bit of colour variation. Now that's going to be almost like the inside. I'll zoom in a little bit as well so you can see the actual paint a little bit more now as well. I'm not going to make it symmetrical because that would be boring. We'll pop some of this down here and see what happens. That'll let me define the shape of this petal here as well, you know, so that it's separate from the other ones. Now, every single bone in my body right now is screaming out to start blending these colours together, fighting the urge, but that is obviously all I've done for forevermore in terms of painting and drawing and colouring, so it's a very foreign concept to me. Now this little one that's peeking in at the back is going to be this mid-tone colour, but I think it's going to be a little bit darker, I think. Here. That's looking alright, isn't it? Is it? You guys tell me. And I'm going to take some of this as well. I'm getting really brave now. I'm like, yeah, let's just go for it. I'm going to take a little bit of this lovely original violet colour and I'm just going to like, oh. And I'm doing this while it's still wet because I don't want it to be really obvious. You guys can't see that, that's just annoying. Kind of follow the shape of the petal a little bit. And I just want to kind of define this area here. Now I feel like I want a bit more texture, like I do want a bit more texture. So I think I'm going to go back to this kind of like middle colour. I keep going to call these petals for the leaves. I think I'm going to use the grey. Yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit less harsh than the white. So because I want a really fine line, I'm trying to keep the minimum amount of paint right on the point of the flat edge of the paintbrush. Seriously, you would think I've been drinking, I nearly said toothbrush there. Like, what is wrong with me today? Anyway, let's see how this goes. That's way too much. Way too much. Let's try again. Okay, this brush is not fine enough. If I zoom in and just show you that messy. So we're going to paint over that and try again with a smaller brush. I'm going to get a teeny weeny brush out instead, which, well, some of you will know is my preference. When I say teeny weeny, I mean really teeny weeny. This is what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Granted, not a steady line, but none of this messy rubbish over here. Okay, let's get some more green then. We'll just pop that back, just cover you right the way up. Oh. Okay, I think we're pretty good up here now as well. So again, I am sticking with the teeny weeny brush. I might as well, seeing as I'm here. And I'll pick up some of this grey. And this is really just for the very top. Here. I'm just making sure that I'm covering up right to the edge of the darker layer underneath, and it's just to keep it nice and crisp and sharp. I saw some lovely ones that were yellow at the very tips. They were a much paler shade of purple than I've used, right enough. But they looked really pretty. I think the grey was a good choice. It's a lot less intrusive than the white. It's a lot less stark. And you can see if I tilt that slightly, this pink colour that I've used down the bottom is actually standing out quite well. It's not that obvious on the camera, but maybe if I do the close-up at the end, you'll be able to see it better. And I'm just going to go back over here and I'm going to put in my little line. There we go. Right, I'm going to let that one dry completely. I'm quite happy with it and I'm actually really pleased with the texture that I've got because I have some sort of texture which I have not had in any of my gouache paintings up till now, and it's probably not a lot in comparison to people that are seasoned gouachists. These words again. Right, seasoned. If you're a seasoned gouachist, I need to know in the comments. Oh, goodness me. But yeah, that's a lot braver than anything I've done thus far. So I'm going to let that dry completely and then we're going to tackle a yellow flower and we might make it a little bit fancier than the purple one. Okay, so while this is drying, I actually just nipped outside Chalk and Pepper playing. This is hilarious. Yeah, I nipped outside there while this was drying, and I just went and had another squint at my crocus in the garden, and I've actually noticed another few things. I did take a photograph of them, but they've changed and they've opened up slightly, and I've noticed that the purple actually comes all the way down the stem. So I'm just wetting, oh, I'm slightly off shot there, I'm just wetting this dark purple again right at the edge, and I'm just going to, oh, why not? Let's just sort of bring that up there. Whoa, ho, ho, ho. Someone commented as well that they found it funny that I referred to myself in the third person as Jem Jem. I do that all the time. Usually when I need to give myself a bit of a pep talk, I say, come on, Jem Jem. And that it's kind of a pet name. My parents used to call me that when I was really small, and sometimes they still do. Oh, goodness me. Speaking of parents, my mum and dad are actually here just now. They're not in the house at this precise moment, but they are here. Mama Jem has just had a knee replacement operation, and she has waited such a long time for it, and I mean years. Papa Jem is still trying to work and keep the businesses running, so just to let him sort of get on for a week or two, Mama Jem is going to be staying here, and she's doing incredibly well. All the doctors have told her she's making amazing progress, and she's actually a lot more mobile than I thought she would be, and she's coping really, really well with it. My mum actually took her trouser leg up and she let Pip sniff the scar. I mean, it's almost closed over now, you know, it's not like an open wound. And Pip took a great interest in this, and I think she realised that you know, there's something healing there, and since then she's been a lot calmer around her, which I find really interesting. I don't class Pip as the most intuitive of animals, you know, she's still got that young sort of daftness about her. I've just cleared myself a little space on the palette here, and this is just so that I can use some of the other colours, but I wanted to keep what I had just in case I decide to go and add anything in. So now I've got permanent white here. I also have a zinc white, and I think I might use that instead because it's got like it's almost like a slightly yellowish tinge to it, and I think that's more sort of natural, you know, flower like. The permanent white is very stark, so I think we'll try the zinc white. The permanent white is the gouache that I use for doing highlights on my pencil drawings and things, because you want that really crisp highlight, but I think this actually might be better. So we can try. The other thing that makes me think when I use gouache as well, this video wouldn't have been in existence if it wasn't for you guys, because it was you that wanted me to try gouache in the first place. I want to thank you very much, because I wouldn't be sitting here playing about and trying to get better at what I'm doing if it wasn't for you suggesting it in the first place. So once again, as always, you are excellent contributors to what goes on in the cave. Right, I'm going to go back to this number 6 round, and we're going to do this white one. So I think I'm going to have the white one sort of slightly bent over on this side, and I think we'll put the yellow one down here in front, and the composition will be reasonable then. So let's try, and we're going to do it at a slight angle, so I'm going to turn the canvas because that's easier. I don't know if you can hear all the mooing that's going on outside, but we have in the field right beside the house, we have some cows who are calving. They are pregnant and they are due imminently. I think I need to make it a bit longer though, you know, like bring it down here a little bit more. Okay, yep, I'm quite happy with that. I actually quite like this white as well. I didn't think I was going to be a huge fan of the white, but yeah. This is really nice as well because, as I say, Mama and Papa Jem, they're away out for a wee while. I think my mum was getting a bit cabin feverish, so Dad offered to take her out just for a jaunt in the car, because she really can't walk very far unaided at all yet. She's all right diddling about the house, but when she's outside she's still walking. She's got one crutch now. She started with 2 and she's down to 1. But she's she's fiercely independent, so she's kind of struggling with this a little bit in terms of having to sort of rely on people to do things for her and stuff. Just good to get her out for a little while, and obviously my dad's there to support her. If she wants to walk a little bit further, she can go, and my dad will be there to help her. So Papa Jem's doing okay though as well. He's really good at looking after people. And my gran, which is my mum's mum, we were talking on the phone, and she said to me, your dad dad should have been a nurse or, you know, someone that cares for older people, because he's so patient with things like that. But he looked after my nana, which was his own mother, for a number of years towards the end before she died. And he just had endless patience with her, like he really did. And it's funny because the rest of the time he's not a particularly patient person, so it's just his thing. So he's done a really good job of looking after Mama Jem. But he needs a little rest as well. And as I say, he's trying to work as well, and I don't want him worrying about her. So the only problem was, originally I was supposed to go down and stay at their house, you know, after our surgery, but because of the timing of when we moved, and obviously we're having a lot of renovation work done in this house, so it just wasn't possible, and that's when we decided that maybe they would be better coming here. It's Papa Jem's birthday tomorrow, like the day after I'm filming this video, so we're going to go out for something to eat and have a nice meal, and then he's going to go home and do some work. He's going to go back down to the west coast, and Mama Jem will stay here for a couple of weeks. Now the stamen in these flowers tend to be like a yellow or orangey colour, and I think I'm going to head more towards orange, so I think we'll just use orange for that, and I'll only be able to see it just peeking out. The other really nice thing as well is, and it's the first thing that's gone right since we've moved, is that I am in between projects with my job just now, so I have 3 days next week where I actually don't have to work at all, so I can spend some time with Mama Jem and not have to be running about worrying about work, so that's really nice as well. Right, I'm going to have to make these quite clean, and that didn't go the way I wanted it to. So I'm trying to be a bit more careful here because these lines are really defined, and it also helps show where the petals actually sit, if you know, does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense. Now I'm going to look to see if I've got an orangey yellow. If I can get away with using that neat, I'm going to do it. Permanent deep yellow and Orange Lake light, so I've got a funny feeling I might have to mix a little bit of both these, because yeah, that's super. And saying that, let's just use a really deep orange, why not? I'm just going to be able to see this peeking out from here and no more, so and then it's just like a little blob at the end. That is literally it. That was incredibly anticlimactic, wasn't it? And again, this is just really to give some definition to what's going on here. Now that is too harsh for my liking, so I'm just going to wet my brush again, and I'm just going to smooth it out a little bit. Just try and drag some of this pink up and round a little bit. Oh, that was too much, too far. This part, not happy with, too dark. So I think we'll just leave that just now to dry, and we can start over here on our yellow one, which I'm really excited about. Okay, let's try primary yellow. I think that's probably a good place. That's going to be really cheery. Oh goodness me, yes. Look at that. Okay, so this one's going to overlap with the purple one, as was the original plan. Let's just go for it and see what we can do. So this paint's separated a wee bit. Let's give it a good mix together. But see, we can do as many, oh that's far too much paint. We can do as many layers as we need to. I'm pretty sure Mr. Jem told me he was going over to one of the other farms, and I'm pretty sure I can hear him rumbling about in the yard, so he's telling fibs, either that or he's changed his mind, something's happened. So maybe that's coming out. Maybe it's out a little bit further. One thing I'll say about using this watercolour board is I really don't know where the water's going, because my brush seems to dry out a lot quicker working on this board than it does if I'm on paper. So I don't know whether it's just sucking the water up, or I'm not sure. I am just making this up. I'm not painting this from reference. Obviously, I've used the reference photos just to get the correct shape and whatnot, but I really am just making this up as I go along. I'm happy with this one. I think I just want to leave it as it is, if I'm honest. I think it is one of those situations where you have to know your limitations, based on your skill level, and learn to when's the best time to just leave things alone. I was sitting at the breakfast table this morning with Mama Jem, We were just having a cup of tea and a little chat, and we were just chatting away, and the next thing my tea was all over the table because my hand decided it just wasn't cooperating, so it just let go. So there was tea all over the table. Mama Jem looked at me and she's like, what happened there? I was like, oh, my hand just decided it didn't want to work anymore. She says to me, she says, does that happen when you're drawing? And I'm like, all the time. It's almost as if my hand just takes a huff and goes, nah, not doing this anymore. It doesn't actually cause, I've not had any major disasters with it yet. I've got a funny feeling it's something that might get worse as I get older. It seems to happen more with things that, the smaller the item I'm holding, i.e. the more grip I have to have on it, the worse it is. Generally when I'm holding bigger items, because I don't have to clench my hands so tight, it's not, you know, it doesn't cause the same problems. But see, I do, you know, well, the pens and paintbrushes and things, they just jump out my hand. It's as if someone's just like made me throw it. Maybe I'll just try and do an abstract painting completely with involuntary hand motions. So while I'm waiting on this yellow, I think I'm going to start adding in some more leaves. Oh, that was a bit heavy-handed, but okay. I kind of get the same feeling doing this as I do when I'm painting trees. It's just nice because there's no real structure to it and you can kind of just go on a whim. Okay, we're pretty dry here as well, so that was good timing. This yellow seems to be very watery. Okay, I think I'm quite happy with the greenery down the bottom. I'm not so happy with this yellow situation. Okay, this is going to be a delicate operation, but I'm going to take this teeny tiny watered down smidge of orange. And I am just going to tickle it into the edge of this yellow. We're just going to grab a little bit of this. And on the driest part, I'm just going to pop that in there. Almost like a shadow, but not quite. Ever so subtly. Well, as subtle as I can manage, because let's face it, I'm not a pro with this at all. That reminds me as well, you guys have been absolutely hilarious on the giveaway video with your creative use of the requirement to enter the giveaways. I sat for about 15 minutes yesterday and just chuckled away to myself. Honestly, like 100% like effort from you guys. I was so impressed. I really, really am. Please continue to do it. The giveaway is open until the 22nd, which is a Sunday, 22nd of March, and I will draw the winners the following Thursday. I'll announce that across all the social media platforms, but since you guys are here and you're listening anyway, now you know how long you've got. So if you haven't already, please go and watch that video. I'll link it in the end card because I am giving away some goodies because it's the cave birthday. I didn't think we'd still be here at 2 years. So, and I'm really pleased that we are, which is nice. So yeah, head over there if you want to have a chance to win some goodies. I also looked at the 120 set of Arteza pencils. So if you are a pencil person or you're curious about pencils, you can go and check it out for that particular reason also. I feel like I want a rogue petal all of a sudden, like out here. Yeah, why not? See, this is the fun about stuff like this. Let's just do it. It's like a rebel petal. I don't want to be with all the other guys. I want to be on my own because just want to stand out from the crowd. And I think I might add a little bit of white into this as well, and I think we'll call it done after that. I'm just thinking out loud now, guys. What Mr. Jem calls a brain fart. Just everything that's in your head comes out your mouth. To be fair, I'm like that a lot of the time. Oh dear. Once again, my placement is slightly off, or a bit off centre, because this was not the original plan. But do you know what? I'm just gonna go for it and say that that's okay. To get a little bit more water on the go. Be my friend. Nope. Okay, this is just not happening. I'm gonna have to get some water. They're gonna have to really water this down, and then mix it over. It's gone sort of globby. That's the official and technical description, obviously. The other thing that I really noticed the difference about gouache to watercolour is that you can't jump between colours quite as easily. You know, you really have to make sure that your brush is rinsed and cleaned and all the rest of it, or alternatively have separate brushes. And it's a lot easier to just jump between your colours when you're using watercolour. Again, when it comes to painting, watercolour is my only experience, and even at that it's quite limited. So this is just a bit of discovery. But I think quite a lot of you are at the discovery stage also, so, you know, just still learning together. That's what we're doing here. That's what we do. It's quite interesting just to play about with this and see what happens depending on how wet your brush is and, you know, how much water you have mixed in with the paint. It's just interesting to go through the process of finding out, you know, well, what'll happen if I do this? And I do a lot of that. I like to experience. I'm very much a what if kind of person. Well, let's see what happens here kind of thing. And again, one of the things I really, really enjoy about art in general is being able to do that, and there's no real consequence other than the slim chance that you might have a naff piece of artwork at the end, which at the end of the day is no disaster because nobody needs to see it, and if you feel that strongly about it you can always put it in the bin, although I don't recommend that myself. I would say probably my yellow flower was the biggest experiment and it was also the least successful, but it still looks okay-ish, so we're going to go with that. All that's left for me to do is reconstitute a darker colour here and sign my name. That would be handy. Just like this. Do you know what I might do? I've just changed my mind completely. They're just typical. I'm just going to add in some... I don't know why, I just feel like it. I just feel like it's making it a bit more interesting. This could potentially ruin this painting. I am prepared to take that risk though. It'll be interesting to see how much this is going to show up. I don't know whether that makes that any worse or any better or it makes it look more finished, but I never do things like that in backgrounds. So again, why not? Just why not? Right, let's have a wee bit of a zoom out. Look at my palette. How pretty does that look with all the colours next to each other? And there we go. I think I have achieved, apart from my smudge here, oh goodness me, I can't leave that like that. Right, I'm still not finished. Guys are like, oh Gem, are you going to end this video or what? I'm just going to try and cover up this smudge that I have here because it is pretty bad. And we'll bring this. Oh no, it's leaked into my white. Oh no, why did I decide to do that? Oh, regrets, regrets. I'll just pull that up through. There we go. It's meant to look like that. It's fine. Okay, right, I'm done this time. I'm done. Yeah, so the aim of this for me today was to try and embrace the opaque qualities of gouache. I think I have achieved that quite successfully, and I enjoyed being a wee bit braver with gouache as well. I know it's not like I went to town and created this amazing masterpiece, but for me things like this is baby steps, and you know, just going that little bit further each time you do a painting, that's how you learn and remain comfortable and still have fun and enjoy what you're doing. So I have had great fun doing this today. It's a perfect way to spend a wet day when the house is quiet, and it's not going to be quiet for very long. So I really hope you've enjoyed this and maybe you've learned something about gouache as well. And I'd love to hear your comments, or if you have tried anything with gouache as well, I'd love to hear about it in the comments section. So I'll leave you with this just now, and we shall see you back in the cave really soon for another video. Thanks for coming to hang out, guys, and I hope you have a good day. Bye for now, everyone.